So the NBA draft is coming up, and we have some Sixers draft rumors to get to here on Philadelphia 76ers Now. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. Could the Sixers trade into the draft? According to a report from Adam Zagoria, who does a great job covering college basketball, the Sixers have met with Imani Bates despite not having a draft pick. So obviously, there's some level of interest there. They could trade into the second round where he could go, or they could sign him as an undrafted free agent. Before taking a look at all of that, make sure you subscribe to the show because this is what we do here on 76ers Now. A lot of you don't know me. I'm from Westchester, grew up in the Philly area, lifelong Sixers fan. I loved Allen Iverson as a kid. I've been heartbroken by this basketball team as many times as you have. Went to Temple University. Now professionally, I get paid to talk about the Sixers. It's something that I am very blessed to do. I'm not worthy. But here on the show, we're worthy of your subscriber, right? Year-round Sixers coverage, news, rumors, and analysis, NBA free agency intel with that coming up here in a couple of days, NBA draft analysis, live shows, and watch parties as well. So, you look at the Sixers' notable draft picks coming up. In 2024, they do have a first-round pick. Not this year, though. In 2026, they have their own first-round pick. In 2028, that's the same story. And then in 2029, a first-round pick as well. They cannot trade a first-round pick until 2029 because of a lot of the picks that they gave up in that James Harden Nets trade that sent away Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, as well as Ben Simmons. So, with the Sixers here, Emoni Bates is certainly interesting because the Sixers traded their 2023 first-rounder to the Brooklyn Nets. They were stripped of their second-round picks this year and next year for tampering. That was the P.J. Tucker allegation. But the Sixers can add UDFAs after the draft, or they can decide to trade into the second round of the NBA draft despite having those picks taken away from them. And Emoni Bates is a fascinating prospect for a couple of reasons. This report coming from Adam Zagoria, the Michigan native who was once compared to a young Kevin Durant and appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated, has already worked out with the Charlotte Hornets and Dallas Mavericks and has one coming up with the hometown Detroit Pistons. He's also met with the Philadelphia 76ers, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Portland Trailblazers. I am so intrigued by the idea of Emoni Bates because the Sixers really haven't had a player of this type of prototype in a little while who they can groom and develop while not having to give a lot of minutes to, as they are right now championship contenders. He is a former number one recruit in high school. He drew those Kevin Durant comparisons. Out of high school, he originally committed to Michigan State to play for Tom Izzo, but he decommitted, then reclassified ahead a year, and then he went to Memphis after a disastrous year one playing for Penny Hardaway, in which his numbers were bad. He transferred to Eastern Michigan, but prior to that was hit with a misdemeanor gun charge, which then forced him to miss some games at the start of the college basketball season. But when he did play for Eastern Michigan, you saw the length, you saw the offensive arsenal, you certainly saw the ability. The points per game, pretty solid, 19 points per game. Now, those 19 points per game did come on about 16 field goals per night. The efficiency was not good at all. But is he an early bloomer who reclassified, went to college a little bit earlier, made a mistake there, but clearly has an offensive package that is attractive? 40.5% from the field in Eastern Michigan, and then 33% from three-point range. Now, his scouting profile is pretty interesting here because at the NBA Scouting Combine in Chicago, a lot of eyes were on him, and he did impress a lot of people. According to Jamie Shaw of On3, he said Bates is a shot maker. He was consistent and had consistent form and a release at each level on the floor during the scouting combine. He played with a good motor, showing some chops on defense. He was 4 of 9 from the field for 9 points in the scrimmage that they had. It was a solid to good showing. And at the 2023 combine, Bates clocked in at 6'8", without shoes, 179 pounds, and his wingspan measured 6'9", and he has an 8'9" standing reach. So he can nearly dunk the basketball just by standing. The athletic profile there is why I would take a shot on him, and I'm very, very intrigued by that idea. You put him on the bench in blowouts, you give him some time, and then down the road, does he become something? Now you can either get him if you trade into that second round, or because he had that good to average showing at the NBA Scouting Combine, he's listed on some drafts, he's not on the boards for some teams, maybe he becomes an undrafted free agent, and the Sixers give him that opportunity to live out his dream of playing in the NBA. Should the Sixers draft Imani Bates? D for draft or P for pass? I'm fascinated to see where the fans are at with this one. Now let's take some questions from the audience here from our community tab on YouTube. The Sixers became so easy to guard in the playoffs with isolations, high screens, and people standing in the corners not moving. With Nick Nurse's mobile variation of the triangle offense, would the Sixers actually be better with Fred VanVleet and another wing player than they would be in retaining James Harden? I think that James Harden as an option would be great for the Sixers. I also think this is interesting. Kendrick Perkins said he thinks Harden is going to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. With James Harden, he plays this stagnant style of offense in which the ball just dies, and because of that, the offense just dies. Everybody stands around. But it's not just him, David. It's also Joel Embiid. Because when you play through a big sometimes people just stand around that perimeter because Embiid is trying to get to the cup on a face-up, shoot that elbow baseline jumper on the face-up, or he's trying to back his guy down. I think the Sixers need more ball movement on the offensive end of the floor because I'm with you. Things got too stale, too stagnant, and at the end of playoff games, that can't happen. And in Game 6, that is what happened. Now, Dak Rivers did admit to Bill Simmons, we could have done a better job of giving Joel Embiid the basketball. I think Embiid could have been more accountable in calling for the rock when he didn't get it nearly the last 4 minutes of that game. But with Fred VanVleet, he was one of the most efficient players in points per possession when operating with a traditional big when they set a screen. What does Joel Embiid do well? Operate well with the screen. Fred VanVleet would be a good fit as a James Harden replacement, in my opinion. Merquan Wilson, what's good, brother? I'm of the belief that we need to trade Tobias Harris like most other 76ers fans. My question is, how does it hurt us to keep his expiring contract on our books until the following year? The pros versus cons. Let's discuss it. So I've seen some people say this. Let James Harden walk. Don't target Bradley Beal. Bring back Tobias Harris on that expiring contract. And let this be a gap year for Philadelphia while seeing if Tyrese Maxey can become that next star. There are advantages of that. Obviously, the disadvantage, you don't compete in this championship window, at least you would think, this upcoming year, unless Nick Nurse is able to extract the best out of Toby and Tyrese Maxey takes yet another step. So the pros of that are that you clear up so much money for the 2024 offseason when the free agency crop is going to be better than it is this year, and then you get that other star. But then at that point, Joel Embiid's 30 years old, and how is he going to age as a big? Now for Embiid, he started his basketball career late as a teenager. He missed his first 2 years. So you have to think about that when you think about the overall age of Joel Embiid, but also you have to think about the injuries, right? For Tyrese Maxey, he is capable of taking that next step. And I think that a lot of the Sixers' decisions this offseason hinge on what they think of Maxey, and that could lead to what they do with Tobias Harris, because Maxey in his first 3 years has gone from 8 points per game year 1 to 17.5 in year 2 to 20 points per game in year 3. I tweeted this out on my Twitter page at Chase_Senior. The 3-point numbers have gone up, where in 2022, 2023, he was at 20 points per game, 48% shooting, 43% from 3, and then his advanced shooting numbers also really good. Catch and shoot 3-point numbers, 45.5%. Pull-up threes, nearly 39%. His field goal percentage when 10 feet and in from the 10, 55%. That ranked top 10 in the NBA. So it's interesting when you think about these types of things, and these are the types of conversations that the Sixers are having within this front office. TSU Pang, hopefully I pronounced that right. Let's make LeBron James join the Philadelphia 76ers. I said this at the time when we talked about it. I think Embiid is a shoo-in, I think LeBron James is a shoo-in to head back to the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think that LeBron is going to leave LA. His son's going to be playing at USC. We're talking about Bronny James here. And I think that there's no doubt that LeBron is going to continue his career with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm looking at my phone here because I did have somebody reached out on Instagram with another question, and I'm trying to find that here. Just give me a quick moment. I'm looking for my dude watching from overseas. If I can find it really quickly, I can relay that to the people. If not, bad radio. I totally understand that. Let's see here. Oh, there he is. I am Horology. He had asked me, let's see, what do you think of Chris Paul on a 1-year deal plus a team option for the second year while dropping James Harden? One gets injured for the postseason while the other chokes. We'd be no better, but at least he's a professional, a.k.a. no trips to Houston to see ladies of the night. That's absolutely hilarious. And I am Horology, actually watching from the UK. So we have people listening and tuned in from all across the globe. I'm not in on Chris Paul. I don't see how he makes you better. We're already talking about the Sixers offense, how it kind of dies with that conversation a little bit earlier. Chris Paul operates at such a slow pace. He's older. I don't know how he makes you better. Now, it does allow Tyrese Maxey to continue to play that too, and then Chris Paul can continue to operate that point guard position. Great distributor. He has that elbow pull-up, that little fadeaway. I like how patient he is on the offensive end, but the injuries are just such a concern. So now you're looking at Chris Paul always injured, as well as Joel Embiid injured a lot as well. So that does it for today's segment. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe.